Good evening, and welcome along to Robin Elliott tonight. Good to have your company with us once again. Coming up on the show, we'll be chatting to the star of Celebs Go Dating, TV personality and actor Tom Reed Wilson is going to be with us.
I said, I love how she cotton. And somebody said, well, there's a wonderful response to that. She's cutting diesel. Oh, she's chugging diesel. Meaning, she's going at an absolute clip.
Yeah.
I think you could do it with a car, couldn't you?
We'll also be chatting to the Northern Ireland Country Music Awards Newcomer of the Year. Lauren McCrory joins us in the studio. We'll be talking about Testicular Cancer Awareness Month with Ballymena rugby player Angus Kernohan.
Having this ability to have this test that is really easy for you to do, I think is really, really important and a great breakthrough.
We'll find out about this year's Golden Dance Awards 2025. And we'll be celebrating 21 years of this very programme by taking a look back into the archives at some of the music legends who've joined us on the show over the years, including Ritchie Havens and David Cassidy. So that's what's coming up on the show this week, but let's begin as always with a look back at some of the more quirky news stories of the week, and to help us do it, I chatted earlier on to Mr. Showbiz, Paul Martin. Here's what happened. Right, we're going to go live to Miami. And Mr. Showbiz, Paul Martin, I hope, is there. How are you, sir?
I'm here, I think.
You're there?
As much as I'm ever here in the real world, which is not very much when we do weird news, is it, Robin?
Exactly, and wow, have we got some weird news for you this week. And we're starting off with Michael O'Leary, I believe.
Well, Michael O'Leary, who I have to say I've met on a couple of occasions, been out for dinner with once, and like everybody else on the planet, everybody loves a good old Michael O'Leary getting, his just desserts story. Okay, we've all been there in those Ryanair flights, haven't we? When they charge you €17.50 for a half-frozen pizza. And at one time, you might remember, Robin, Michael O'Leary was even touting the idea of charging you £1 to pee, which is a particular favourite. And he made no apologies for it. Finally, Robin, Michael O'Leary's got his just desserts, literally, in a way. He went to a restaurant in Meath last week, and I'm gonna show you the bill. You've got the bill there, Robin. Brilliant. Wow. I want to have a look at this. So he had sea bass and Chardonnay in this local eatery in Meath, and this is just, to me, the greatest mic drop that I've seen in pranks in years. Okay, so he finished his dinner, and when he asked for the bill, as Michael O'Leary would do with his multi-billions, they added on a few cheeky extras. Now, if you take a very close look at the bill here, Robin, it wasn't just for the food or indeed the Chardonnay, nice as it looked, or indeed the mushrooms of toast, which is kind of weird, I have to say. They added on a few extras. At the top of the bill here, you'll see they gave him an surcharge for extra leg room of around £8. They gave him an extra charge at the top of the bill. This is before they even reached the food, for being seated in a quiet area. And then a further surcharge, Robin, at the third down here, for being given a priority boothing, which is his own booth to eat in. By the way, it's two of those dodgy Murray mints there, whatever they are. They always give you as a little consolation for your massive bill. It pushed the bill up. This isn't so much weird. It's just a great mic drop. Brilliant. We can only do it in Ireland. He looked at the bill and he burst out laughing, apparently. And the staff actually did say, look, we're just having a bit of a laugh. But for most people, we'll take this as great revenge.
Exactly.
A dish served cold, Robin.
I love it. Do you know, I've only met Michael once in my life, right? And you're gonna love this. I met him in Dublin. We were both in the same competition one year. We were both up for the title of Ireland's sexiest man.
I mean, you're looking very fresh-faced compared to a couple of months ago there, Robin. Really young.
Yeah,
really young. So I can see why you were there.
It's all to do with lighting in your studio. It's the lighting.
Oh, absolutely. I can see that diet as well. But you're looking good, Robin. But how could I get you being in there? Obviously, we can see you now even. But Michael O'Leary, really?
I think Michael O'Leary beat me in it.
Hold on. So you came second?
No. I think we came much further down the line from that. But I think he did beat me.
Well, listen, Robin, I think the time has told the story here. You have stood the test of time. I don't know how, but you're looking younger than last year even. Literally. I have no clue why this could be, but you look great.
Very simple, Paul. One little thing.
I did say I didn't hear that at all. Botox. Anyway, Robert's a good advert for Botox. I might get some myself. Not that we said Botox. He doesn't have Botox. That's your first story. And Michael O'Leary took it because Robert, does anybody ever jack up your? Does anybody give you free meals anymore? You're the only man I know who never pays anywhere he goes.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Of course they do. Right, enough of all this. Let's move on with the weird news stories. We're staying in America this time. We're off to Texas, aren't we?
Let's go to Texas, right? Yeah. Can I just preempt this, Robin, with Texas, probably the most lax state in the whole of the United States for gun laws. Every house owns about 17 shotguns. People carrying them everywhere, and it's that right to bear arms and all that. We know what it's like in Texas. We get the deal, cowboys and all that.
Yeah.
So you would say, well, that's quite a dangerous place to send your kids to school. There could be a lot going wrong there. We've seen it so many times in America. But no, Robin, it's not the people touting guns or 18-year-olds running around with firearms that you have to worry about in Texas, because a primary school in Texas, St. Princeton's, in fact, is the name, has become the world's first school that I know of. Now, I doubt we're going to get a call from like Cully Backy in 10 minutes saying, no, we've actually got one too. Just putting it out there. But if we do, that would be a great show. To build a $90,000, think of school fees here, alien-proof bunker for an alien doomsday invasion scenario. Now, yes, okay, I'm going to be honest, Robin. You know how I feel about this. I don't think that's as far removed from reality. It kind of scares me a little bit because we're seeing this big documentary coming out in a few weeks called Disclosure.
And we are believers in this. We're
believers. And I've done some digging the last couple of weeks. Apparently, they're already running the American government. They're going to go official on it in 2 years and basically say goodbye to the human race. That's what I've heard. But that's a bit nuts. Yeah. But in any case, they'll be the last ones laughing because they built this. They got $90,000 of funding for it. They built this bunker out, and it has paneling, rooftops disguised as mountains, paneling which is anti-radar repellent, so they can't be tracked or anything. All they need is the tinfoil hats, like in the 60s, the little pointy tinfoil hats, and enough supplies to last them for 6 months. Now, I would suggest, Robin, as a contingency plan, that 6 months might not be enough to repel aliens if they can travel across the universe and want to take the world over. It's probably 6 months of hiding out isn't going to really do it. But nonetheless, this has happened. It was put in front of the Board of Governors by a father who thought these aliens are going to be taking us over real soon. Pew, 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 pew. Bang, 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 bang. They're the monsters, not us gun toters. And the School of Governors, the board said, yes, we agree, voted it through, and it is now built. So, Robin, if an alien invasion is forthcoming and they are going to decimate the human population, that school is prepared for it. Not for gun crime, indeed, not for a nuclear war. Thankfully, they don't even have it's one of the very few places in America that doesn't even have an air raid shelter for like hurricanes and storms and all. But they do. They are ready for those aliens if and when they land.
Excellent. Well done to the people of Texas. We're staying in the US. We're off to Orlando now, and the jewelry heist of the year.
Well, it could have been, couldn't it? I mean, it's certainly the jewelry heist story of the year. This is America's Dumbest Criminals written all over it, isn't it? So we're going back here just a couple of days ago, actually, in Orlando, and an ill-advised robber-to-be thought he'd got away with the haul of a lifetime. He went into a top jewelry store in Orlando, in their main shopping mall, actually. It's been a very big story here. And went in under the guise of being, imagine it, let me put it in people that understand this show terms. I'm here on behalf of Robin Elliott. He would like to, he would like to buy some jewels, but of course Robin Elliott never comes. He gets his Paul Martin to do that for him. He doesn't have to be there. So he went in there under this guise of representing a multi-millionaire and asked to see some certain items from their collection, which they did. They bought his story and they laid it all out in front of him. And he said, look, can I have a printed out quote for this? Everything's going normal to this point. And as soon as they turned around to give him the printed out quote, he freaking scooped it all up and ran to the getaway car that was outside. But that's not where this story ends, Robin. It is not where this story ends, because he got away for about 5 hours, CCTV being checked, people, it's a lot of money, nearly millions worth of jewelry. The police finally caught up with him later that evening and hauled him into the police station. But just before they got in there, he grabbed the jewels and did what? Did he stick them try and bury them under the ground, put them over his shoulder like Hamburglar from McDonald's? No, he swallowed every one of them. He was seen doing this as they tried to grapple with him and get him into custody. He arrives at the police station, and this is where the story really takes toll. They had to run an X-ray on him, and there it was confirmed in the station after you put up a fight. Nearly $1 million's worth of Tiffany jewels, Robin, Tiffany jewelry in his stomach. Now, I don't know, and I don't want to know, Robin, how they got it out.
It would be painful.
He denied it until the very moment that the X-ray came up. He said, I didn't have them. It's not me. You got the wrong person. And then, of course, not everybody runs around with like £1 million worth of Tiffany in their tummy last time I checked. But he's now awaiting, of course, because of that, big story here today, more follow-up. So that he's now awaiting trial, courtesy of a little stay in the penitentiary, which is not very bejeweled, I might add. I don't think you'd be seeing much Tiffany in it. But he could have got away with it. But he had to swallow his pride, and now it looks like he's going to die for about 20 years.
There you go. Those stories are, I think, the craziest we've heard on the series.
We're off to a good start this year anyway.
We're off to a good start. And more important news, you're in the studio with us next week.
I am. I'm jetting back from Miami just to be in the studio for this. That's how big the Robin Elliott show is. I wasn't planning on coming back, but Robin Elliott says, get in here and tell us some really nuts stuff that we can all laugh at. That's a call to action if ever I've heard one. So I'll see you in sunny Belfast next week, because we're going to have a heat wave, I think.
Let's hope so. Right, Paul Martin, thank you. See you next week.
Peace out from Miami.
Bye-bye. Now, earlier on this year, country music star Lauren McCrory won the Best Newcomer Award at the Northern Ireland Country Music Awards. She's back with a brand new single. It's called The Good Old Girls. And we'll chat to Lauren in just a second after we play you this, a little clip of the brand new single.
Daddy played me a Bob Wills song. Mama gave me a bow. And I was a fiddling, faded love by the time I was 5 years old. Good old girls, good old girls, good old girls like me. Southern's the right pack and pride. Country is a black-eyed pea. With braid cows, fix our hair and wear tight-fitting jeans. I guess that's why them good old boys want good old girls like me.
So there we go, a little clip of the brand new single from Lauren McCrory. That's called Good Old Girls, and I'm pleased to say she's here with us in the studio. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. So congratulations on the new single.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us the story behind it.
Do you know what? I had it in the back burner for quite some time. So obviously as an artist, you're constantly listening for songs and what can you record. So heard it about maybe 2 years ago and went, I like that.
Yeah.
There's something in it. I could maybe do something there, but didn't do anything at that time. And then back in around last August, heard it, and it was just at the end of summer, and I went, I like that. Let's do it. Let's go for it.
And it's real country. It's coming from Nashville, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's originally written by a lady called Jenny Fleener. So she's a huge kind of fiddle artist over in Nashville, and she's played with several different people, Martina McBride, Cody Johnson, written songs for Dolly Parton. So she's really well known.
Yeah.
And yeah, really enjoy her stuff. There's kind of like a bit of a bluegrass style to it, which I kind of like to incorporate into my music. So yeah, so far so good. It's doing
Brilliant. All right, so of all the genres in the world, why country music then? What was it got you started?
I was just reared with it.
Yeah.
There was no getting away from it. My next door neighbour is Philomena Begley, the queen of Irish country music. So yeah, my parents were great lovers of the music, and it was just always played in the house. And then I got the chance to go to Nashville whenever I was 7, and I think that's wherever it was like properly, you know, the love for it was established then.
Yeah.
I got to sing in the Rhino Auditorium stage, went to Graceland, done the Country Music Hall of Fame, and obviously as a child you're a wee sponge.
Yes,
you
exactly.
just take everything in, and yeah, that's clearly what I did, and here I am. No longer a child, but still doing it.
Yeah, still doing it, still singing away, and you won the Newcomer Award at the Northern Ireland Country Music Awards as well.
I did, yeah, Female Newcomer of the Year, so was delighted to receive that. Obviously that was, you know, all the votes from that were from the public.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to see that the hard work is...
You're doing something right.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Maybe it's starting to pay off. But yeah, no, delighted with that, and very grateful. So to anyone who voted, thank you all so much.
Yeah. What about living next door to Philomena then? Was she always on hand to give you advice and stuff?
All the time. Never mind just in the country scene, it was maybe things to do. Like I used to work in the local shop, so she'd come in, and instead of me selling her bread and milk, it was how you getting on, and it was maybe 20-minute conversations. Yeah, she's a great lady.
Yeah.
And she's such an advocate for Irish country music. You know, she's certainly an influence for all female artists, but also any artist within the scene. She's just very straightforward and to the point. She knows what she's doing. I mean, she's done it.
Exactly.
She's did it.
She has.
And you know, I'm very privileged to say that yes, she's a great influence, but she's a great family friend.
Oh, brilliant.
And I'm very lucky and blessed to have good neighbours.
And what about the other female artists? Because at the minute there is a lot of young female country singers out there, all vying for that top spot, aren't they?
No, we are. We're all kind of just working together, and we're all trying to just, I suppose, revamp things a wee bit. There's quite a lot of young artists coming through. And I'm a girl's girl, so I love supporting, you know, other girls within the scene. I think there's plenty of room for all of us. And we're all different in what we do. We all have different styles, we all have different audiences. But it's just nice to be nice, and it's nice to help everybody. And I think that's what's happening at the moment within the young ones.
I think so, yeah.
You know, I would go to quite a lot of the younger artists' gigs if I'm not gigging myself, because I just love to be on the road. But I love jiving and I love the crack. And it's nice, and you know, as I said earlier, it's good to have good friends in this scene, because it's a big scene, but it's also a small scene at the same time.
Yeah, but everybody across the world now has kind of realised that country music is the way to go, and we're seeing so many artists crossing over now into country. I mean, Beyonce was the big shocker. I know.
I don't think anyone expected that. I certainly didn't. It's became really, really popular. You know, as a younger girl, whenever I was singing country music, I kind of pulled back quite a bit, because I was like, it's not cool, and people are going to be saying things. Whereas, like, flash forward now, it's like, why are you not doing country music? I'm quite lucky the fact that I'm quite versatile in what I do, both Irish country music, and I try to dabble then into the American country music as well.
Do you like Beyonce stuff?
I mean, it wouldn't be my first preference of choice, but I can appreciate it.
Yes,
I think what she did with it was really clever.
Yeah.
Really clever. And the album's brilliant. You know what it is. And I think from an artist point of view, it was tactical and it was well done. Yeah. And the Texas Hold'em, isn't that what you call that song? Like, I sing that, I gig it.
Yeah.
And it goes down really well. So I do enjoy it. I can appreciate it. But I am an Irish country music girl.
Great.
Give me Daniel O'Donnell and Philomena any day.
We're coming near the summer now, so of course it's getting ready for all the big summer festivals and stuff. I would imagine you've got a load in the diary already. Yeah,
they're coming in nicely. I was just at the Cowboys and Heroes launch there on Wednesday night for their office. They do a massive festival, the last bank holiday weekend in May. So I'll be doing that, and I'll be on the Sunday night along with Declan Ernie, Una Healy and Derek Ryan.
That's
so on
a
the
great
main
lineup,
stage.
isn't it?
Great lineup. And you know what? That's only the evening. So that festival runs from the Friday right through to the Monday, and there's music from like the get-go. So despite me being on the Sunday night, there'll be music from like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So it's a great festival.
And again, we're seeing Una Healy as well doing the crossover from her old stuff into country music now as well.
Yeah, and Una's lovely because she's got a really distinctive voice and a unique sound.
Yeah.
So I've never met Una personally, so I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, I've met Declan and Derek, but should be a good night. What about the boys then? Who's your favourites? Patrick Feeney. Yeah, really? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have always been a huge fan of Patrick ever since I was a young girl. I just love his sound. And I just love his songs. I think they're a great jive and they're really upbeat and happy. And there you go. That's Patrick Feeney. Brilliant. All right. What about big plans for the future then? What's the kind of big ambitions? Big ambitions. Well, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing at the moment. Things are going well. We obviously are releasing singles, which then will lead to an album. Yes. So that's definitely within the works. So that will hopefully be coming either towards the end of this year or the start of next year. Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to that. But would also love to do kind of a lot of concerts. Yeah. And see where that could maybe take us. I'm a bit of a theatre girl. Yes, I remember you were touring in a show as well, weren't you? So I do different musicals and whatnot, and then I'm also a singing teacher, so I teach musical theatre. Wow. So, and an actor, can't get away from it. Being on stage and in different theatres and whatnot, I think it would make sense to do, theatre shows. Yeah. So that would be something that I'd like to do going forward. So fingers crossed. There's plans in the pipeline. Yeah. But yeah, we'll focus maybe on the album for now and different gigs coming in and supporting different artists and see where we go from there. What about life on the road as well? Because it is a busy old life for you guys, isn't it? You're travelling up and down thousands of miles every year. Yeah. Like tonight, for example, you're in Bundoran later on tonight. Yes. Belfast in the morning, Bundoran in the evening. Yeah, it is. It's busy. It's definitely busy. I was just chatting to the managing director of the show, and he was saying that, it's busy. And I said, yeah, sometimes you could actually be on the road traveling to a gig longer than you're actually at the gig.
Exactly, yeah,
And
yeah.
by the time you get all your gear packed down and then you're back in the car and you have to travel home again, it can be sometimes a 12-hour day or a 12-hour journey. But I do love it.
Yeah.
I do love it. And some people, especially my friends, are like, where are you tonight? I can't keep up with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't really keep up with myself, but if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So taking it now whilst I'm young.
Yes, yeah.
And I've no ties. But yeah, I don't mind it. It's grand. Sometimes it can be a bit busy. Like I was in London back for St. Patrick's weekend over with the Jive Tribe. And we did an event over there. So that was obviously a bit different.
Yes.
You know, that's a lot more travelling and a lot
Yeah.
more is entailed in that. But it's good fun.
And there's
It's
also been a great
experience.
country scene in London as well, hasn't there? Especially around the Irish clubs and stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly where I was taken over to. It was the Irish London
Yeah.
Centre. You know, Ed Sheeran had performed there,
Yeah.
Sean Keane, Dermot O'Leary. I walked in and I saw Dermot's face and I was like, gosh, he's been here. I can now add my name to that. So that was a great honour to get over there, and they're trying to really build up, you know, the jiving community over there, which is brilliant to see.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that was great fun. So hopefully we'll be back.
Excellent. Let's hope so. Give my love to everybody in Bundoran tonight. I would
will.
love to be there. Can you believe I'm missing the Hot Country TV
I
Awards
know,
tonight?
I know. Well,
But,
don't worry. I'll certainly tell everyone that you were asking for them, and they'll be delighted to hear from you.
Fabulous. Well, whenever we get your new video for Good Old Girls, we will play it on the show. But in the meantime, we'll play another one of your music videos. What are we going to go for?
I think we'll go back to the start. I think we'll go for Whole Lotta Little.
I remember this. That was the first single,
That was
wasn't
the first
it?
single that brought me back to the country scene. So obviously I'd won Glory Cheer in 2017, but took a bit of a break, and then we came back with A Whole Lotta Little. So we'll go from that.
Let's go. Here she is. Here's Lauren McCrory.
We ain't got a whole lot, but we got a lot of little, and a little suits me just fine. We go together like a bow and a fiddle, and we live a little simple life. Got a little house on the edge of town. Got a funny looking dog running around. Got a little porch big enough to hold a swing for both of us. Stealing kisses while the sun goes down. We ain't got a whole lot, but we got a lot of little suits me just fine. We go together like a bow and a fiddle, and we live a little simple life. If money was love, the two of us would be rolling like royalty. Hey, you and me, we got a whole lot of little, and a little's all right by me. Know a lot of folks pretty well to do, but they give anything to be in our shoes. If we ever hit it big, I hope we will always be same little old you, same little old me. We ain't got a whole lot, but we got a lot of little suits me just fine.
Still to come, we'll be chatting to Tom Reed Wilson from Celebs Go Dating, and we'll find out about this year's Golden Dance Awards 2025. But before all that, did you know that it's actually Testicular Cancer Awareness Month? And Ballymena rugby player Angus Kernohan is just one of many rugby players who's getting involved in this year's campaign. Well, I met Angus earlier on this week, and he told me why he's getting involved in the campaign.
Now, a brand new at-home self-check test kit is being launched to allow men to test for testicular cancer to catch the disease earlier and save more lives. It is set to revolutionise the way in which men approach self-checks at the start of Testicular Cancer Month. And it's also being backed by a team of rugby players, including Ballymena's Angus Kernohan, who joins us now. How are you today?
I'm doing well, yeah, just in from a training session there in the sun, so I'm feeling a bit tired, but enjoying the sun, yeah.
So tell us why you got involved in this campaign then.
Yeah, so part of being a professional rugby player, we get tested for banned substances like steroids and that sort of thing. So we go through this testing process of essentially you provide a urine sample and they can take blood and things as well. But the majority of it is giving a urine sample so they can test for those drugs. And this new test that they've developed is exactly the same process. So via a urine sample, you're now able to see if you have signs of testicular cancer, which is obviously a massive breakthrough, being extremely easy and quite a private way as well of trying to find out if you do have any issues. So yeah, they've teamed up with us, having gone through that process as well, so that we can show that it's relatively easy to do.
Now, when it comes to this test and comparing it with anti-doping methods, might this actually put other sports people off from doing the test?
No, because this test doesn't test for that for the professional players, as in it would be able to show it, but because it's not coming from the Anti-Doping Association, then it wouldn't get fed back to them. So yes, you're able to go and get the test, but it does mean for amateur players as well. I think there is that ability for them to go and see if anything is showing doping results. So with supplements and things, if they've been tainted before they've been sent out to you, that's quite important information as well.
And of course, it's not just sports players. This is being aimed at men of all ages, especially in the 15 to 45 age bracket, because that's the most common age for testicular cancer.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key messages, is that this can happen to anybody. It's not going to discriminate between young and old, healthy and fit, athlete or non-athlete. So it's really important that everybody is aware of that it could happen to anyone at any time. So having this ability to have this test that is really easy for you to do, I think is really, really important and a great breakthrough.
And of course, you can take the test in the privacy of your own home.
Definitely. It's not intimidating. You don't have to go and speak to a doctor, speak to someone that you don't know. You're able to order this test, it gets sent to you, you can complete it, and then you send it back. So I think, particularly for men, some maybe struggle to admit weakness at times and admit that they're not a strong macho man as such. So the ability for this to be private, I think, will help men who can be proud at times to break through that.
And having one of these conversations, like talking about testicular cancer, is something men find difficult to do. We do find it hard to open up and have a conversation about topics like this, don't we?
Definitely. And it can be scary to even think that we might have a weakness or be ill. And I know myself, sometimes when you do feel like there's something maybe wrong, you want to just sweep it under the carpet. But it's really important that we try and raise those issues with people that can help us. And then also having a test like this, as you said, that is relatively private and you can do at home, I think helps combat that as well.
Now, what about plans for the self-test kit then? Are there plans to roll this out throughout the whole of the UK?
I think so. I think that's the plan, that it'll become that anybody can order it. So if anybody is in doubt at all, they can order it online. And as I said, get sent to them, they can complete it and send it back. And yeah, I guess the process of it just being tested and sent back to you really quickly as well.
And of course, it is important to get tested as soon as possible, because the survival rate for testicular cancer is 95% if caught early enough.
Yeah, when we received the email about taking part in this, they sent us through some of those facts. And yeah, whenever it's caught early, the fact that, as you said, that huge number of 95% survive, I think that's really encouraging. And again, it's just the most important thing then is breaking through that stigma of not, if something's wrong, about not trying to sort it and not trying to test for it. So if you can have any, if you have any symptoms, if you can test it early, then it just helps massively.
Tell us a little bit about you. You're playing for Ealing Rugby Club at the moment.
Yeah, so I grew up, as you can tell from the accent, grew up in Ballymena and played for Ulster for a couple of years and then moved over to Ealing. And this is my 5th year in London, which is brilliant. Yeah, really enjoying it. Really good team here, really competitive rugby. It's been a big shift to living in Ballymena, moving over to London, but a really enjoyable one, yeah.
And do you keep up to date with what Ulster are getting up to?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Any game that I'm free, or any time that I'm free, I'll stick it on and watch. I've got so many good friends that are still playing, and I'm always going to be a fan of the province that I grew up supporting. So yeah, keep a keen eye on it, yeah.
Well, if people want more information and want to know how to get one of the tests that we've talked about, where do they go to for that?
The amateurantidopingtest.com is the website for the company. So as it says, amateurs and professionals are able to just go onto that website, order it straight from there, which is really encouraging and exciting.
And you're also urging other teams and clubs to get involved and make a pledge through that website as well.
Definitely. And it's the awareness month for testicular cancer coming up, and hence why there is such a big promotion behind it. So trying to get people to encourage each other, and as you said, teams of people coming forward so that they can all pledge interest at that website.
Some great advice there, Angus. It's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Brilliant. Thank you, Robin.
Now, we're talking about the world of dance, and if you happen to be a dancer of any genre, you happen to run a dance school, maybe you're a dance teacher, then you're going to want to get involved in this year's Golden Dance Awards. The launch took place at the Culloden Hotel recently, and I was there to meet the organisers. So here we are in the Culloden Hotel for the launch of a massive dance event. The Golden Dance Awards are coming soon, and we're going to find out all about it. Now, last year was such a big success, I hear. You just had to do it all over again.
Exactly. The demand was astonishing. We had to do it year 2, so we were so grateful that all the dance schools and all the support we had last year that we are able to do it again this year for year 2. So we are just so thankful to everybody who got behind us last year.
So remind us, how did all this come about then?
So I suppose Catherine and I are both studio owners ourselves. We are event organisers ourselves, and there was just that platform missing in dance in Northern Ireland that needed recognition. So the guys behind the scenes needed to be recognised. There's so much for dancers already here in Northern Ireland, with so much for them to do, that we wanted the dance teachers, the dance choreographers, everybody else to be recognised who gives these dancers these opportunities.
Now, we saw some of the fabulous dancers earlier on. I mean, there's so much talent here in Northern Ireland, isn't there?
We really did. You know, we saw 14 dancers from across all the genres, ranging from Highland dance to Irish dance, freestyle dance, which was a new addition for us this year, and right through to our hip hoppers, commercial dancers, contemporary, lyrical, acrobatics. The list is endless, but what a wealth of talent we have in Northern Ireland, and one that I most certainly know Danielle and I, as 2 dance teachers first and foremost, you know, and now the Golden Dance Awards NI organisers, we are astonished, and, you know, we feel so blessed with the talent that we now have, and, you know, and the talent in Northern Ireland is growing, and dance is enormous.
So we're looking forward to this year's event. So when is the big night then?
It is in October, so we are the 4th of October here again in the Culloden, as there's no better venue to host such an amazing event. So it's a gala ball event, and it's so lovely. Everybody in our workplace, we are always in our leggings, our jogging bottoms, not looking our very best. So this is a lovely event for everybody to come along, get glitzed and glammed, put on their best dress, and get all beautiful.
And of course, you couldn't do an event like this without some sponsors as well.
No, to be honest, Robin, we are very blessed. Last year we had 23 sponsors behind us, and this year a lot of those sponsors are coming back on board, which makes us feel very comforted. It's very heartwarming to see, and we are delighted to have Class for Kids on board, and they are our title sponsors this year for the Golden Dance Awards NI. And without their support, you know, this event, an event of this type and the enormity, would not run. We need support, we need the sponsorship, and we're always very open and welcome to receiving new support.
Okay, let's meet some fabulous young dancers now. Kayla, tell me all about you. How long have you been dancing for?
I've been dancing in around 15 years now.
Wow, and have you won many competitions and championships?
Yes, many Ulster medals, and I made the finals of World Cup last year, and I'm going back this year for the finals.
Wow, so what's the kind of long-term goals then? Can you have a career in dancing?
Yes, well, I have started teaching with Newry Dance Theatre Arts and Blackrock Dance Theatre Arts, so that's the goal.
Brilliant. So what's next for you then? Any big competitions coming up that we should know about?
Well, I am going to the World Cup in Spain in July, so that's the goal now. That's what we're working towards.
Wow. So how much training do you have to put in before going to a competition like that?
Well, I train about 3 days a week with Newry Dance Theatre Arts, and then I train twice a week with Queen's dance team, Queen's University.
Okay, so we're here today for the launch of the Dance Awards. So what does a big ceremony like this mean to your dance industry then?
Well, it now gives recognition to not only the dancers who get the medals of competition, but everybody behind them, their parents or teachers, so that they get the recognition as well.
And talking about the people behind the scenes, like the pushy dance mums, is there many of those?
Yes, there is many of those.
Let's talk to another dancer here, another young man. First of all, I love the bling. I love the sparkly top. Where did you get that from?
I got it from Elite Dance Designs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you get me one?
Uh,
Do you think they have them in my size?
Maybe they could run you one in the machine.
Now, I was watching you in there. I reckon you could be the next Michael Flatley.
I'm not sure about that, but I do love practicing.
Yeah?
I love doing Irish dancing.
And where did your love for dance come from? When did it all start for you?
Well, my mum was going to put my sister in the dancing, and then I was like, can I go too?
Yeah?
Yeah, so that's where it came from.
So much practicing do you have to do then?
Well, I dance 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the have you done any big competitions recently?
Well, I done the All Irelands, which I came second, and then I have the Worlds in April.
Wow. Do you think you could be a world champion one day?
Ooh, hopefully.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, the best of luck with that, and good to meet you.
Yeah. Good to meet you too.
Brilliant. So if people want to get involved, if they want to get tickets, how do they go about doing that?
Of course. So the first and foremost need to head over to our social medias. So our social is Golden Dance Awards NI. If you give us a wee follow on Instagram. We also have our website launching too. So if you head over there, all of that information will be there. And nominations will be opening soon. And that will all head to the judges. And then once the judges make their final call of who's made it to the final, we will be in touch then with the guys who have made it.
Well, once again, it's going to be an amazing event. The best of luck with it, and we look forward to the 4th of October.
Woo-hoo. Thank you so much, Robin.
So, time now for our regular What's On guide. Let's see what's happening throughout Belfast and beyond over the next week or so. Let's begin with the Grand Opera House. And you'll not want to miss Thursdays with Elvis, a fabulous girls' night out from acclaimed writer Martin Lynch. And this show was packed with the greatest hits of the 60s, including Aretha Franklin's Respect, the Ronettes' Be My Baby, Etta James's At Last, plus plenty of Elvis classics. And Thursdays with Elvis is a heartwarming, hard-hitting and utterly hilarious comedy about making do and making a change with the help of the king of rock and roll. And you can catch Thursdays with Elvis at the Grand Opera House from the 7th until the 12th of April. Staying with theatre, we're moving across to the Lyric Theatre and Our New Girl that runs from the 8th of April until the 4th of May. So if you're craving your next psychological thriller, this is the drama fix you've been waiting for. From the writer of the hit series The Dry comes the latest heart-pounding thriller, Our New Girl. Let's talk music now, and the Ards International Guitar Festival is back, and that runs at various venues across Newton Ards between the 9th and the 13th of April. And highlights of this year's programme include Ricky Warwick Unplugged, and in conversation with BBC broadcaster Ralph McLean, the internationally acclaimed and award-winning Gary Lucas, and a night of soulful blues from the legendary Rob Strong Band, to name but a few. And full details on this year's festival can be found at ardsguitarfestival.co.uk. Now here's another gig that you won't want to miss. Barbara Dixon with Nick Holland and special guest Anthony Toner. And this is taking place on April the 12th in the Seamus Heaney home place in Ballachy. And this is a special acoustic performance which sees Barbara Dixon and her pianist Nick Holland explore her catalogue of songs at an intimate level. And of course the brilliant Anthony Toner will be joining them as well. And finally for now, if you want to catch a movie in cinemas this weekend, why not check out The Death of a Unicorn? And when a man and his daughter accidentally hit and kill a unicorn with their car, his boss tries to exploit the creature's miraculous curative properties with horrific results. Here's a clip from the movie.
I don't think that we're supposed to have this.
We need to study it.
Whatever it is, it seems to be the cure for cancer.
Cancer? That's the biggest one. An opportunity for greatness, for immortality. I've never been so alive.
Dad,
Please just listen to me. We need to give the little one back. Okay, bad things will happen.
Right, now we're talking about a multimedia exhibition that's taking place at the Belfast Exposed Gallery, in fact just below this very studio. It's been organised by Concern Worldwide. It runs right through until the 12th of April, and it's entitled "And So I Fled, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Crisis the World Ignored." Well, I went along to find out more about the exhibition earlier this week. Here's what happened. Okay, so Jackie, the exhibition is up and running. The first thing that you see when you walk into this room is this fabulous LED screen behind you here telling the full story.
Absolutely. It's an immersive 3D opportunity to actually help us be able to bring our supporters, bring the public to one of the places that we work in. So it's just, as you can see, the most incredible opportunity where we can't easily show people the impact and the difference that we're making working in partnership. So this is just first of its kind, and we're really excited to have it here in Belfast for its maiden voyage, maiden opening.
We had the opportunity to travel out, myself and Eugene Akua, who's from Concern's base in Nairobi in Kenya. He's the photographer of most of the images that you see around here, and I shot this 360 video footage. So yes, it was a really harrowing experience in some ways because of people's stories, and this exhibition in some way gives an opportunity for them to share their experiences, some of which are quite brutal, and others show their resilience and how they've been able to, with a little support from the likes of Concern and our partners, have been able to get on with life, to adapt and to recover from what are really quite difficult situations where they've mostly all have been forced to flee their homes. They've been displaced. They've moved from one place to another. And you can imagine what that's like, you know, setting up in a village, a new village, and then only, you know, a few months later to find that you have to move on because armed groups are getting closer to you. So, I mean, Concern, what we try and do is give people a sustainable way of them earning a living and you know, getting their own way out of poverty. That's really difficult in a situation like this where they are facing threats of violence and conflict. But in some ways it is making a difference because otherwise people would literally be on their own. And so the support that we and our partners are able to provide, a lot of this funding is coming from the UK government, which is really impressive at a time when we hear about UK aid cuts. It's also important to show actually the very positive side of, you know, what UK aid funding can do at grassroots level in communities, in families, in people's lives.
So of all the places that you work with, why Congo then?
So we work, Concern works with the poorest and the hardest to reach areas. We don't shy away from areas in conflict, and unfortunately Congo DRC is one of the most impacted conflicted countries that we do work in. Over 7.2 million people have been displaced through the conflict, and our priority, our team work with the people to find ways to provide nutrition, ways for them to earn a living, teaching them new skills, providing clean water, and also there to provide psychosocial support for people who have sadly often experienced serious trauma.
And a lot of the pictures that we're sitting in around the room here as well tell the story of a lot of people who sadly have gone through a lot of trauma in their lives. Unfortunately,
yes. It's very hard. It's a hard read. It's hard when I would say for anybody coming, you will face the harsh reality of what so many, in particular women, have had to endure and experience, and have been the victim of awful sexual rape, things like that, just as a way to survive, or to. But what they've gone through is just incredibly awful. But that's why I think what comes across is the resilience and the strength and the determination of these largely families.
Since we shot this way back at the end of December, things have changed even in that very short space of time. And that displacement camp, that displacement settlement, over 500,000 people, I think, lived there. They've since had to move on again. And we're hearing, that they're beginning to be able to move back again. But again, that shows you just the struggle that it is to be able to get on with your life, things that we take for granted, getting up in the morning, eating, washing, working, those things are a real struggle if you're living in circumstances like that. But we did meet people who are trying to make a living. In the big displacement camp that you see behind me, we're providing water and sanitation, which is so important because otherwise people, cholera is endemic, diseases that can be really fatal for children. So it's really important what we do, providing clean water and sanitation, water points where people can have access to clean water.
So Jackie, the exhibition is running all week. Who should come and see this then?
I think it's definitely an adult exhibition, but I would encourage anyone and everyone to come. You can get through the exhibition quite quickly. It's a truly incredible experience. It's a one of its kind, and take the opportunity to find out more about Concern and our partners' work in places like DRC. See more about these incredible, resilient people and how they're surviving and how they still have hope, even in conflicted times. So it really is. I would definitely encourage you to come on down, come to Belfast Expose. We're open from 11 to 6 every day. The only days we're closed are Sunday and Monday, but every other time. And there will be a member of the Concern team there to help talk you through, be there to answer any questions and give out any more information about Concern and about our DRC programmes.
Now, as I mentioned at the start of the show, this very programme is 21 years old this year. We've been taking a look back through the archives, and there's many, many of them, at some of the music highlights and some of the big music guests who we've had on the show over the past 21 years. So here's a little clip from 20 years ago this year when I caught up with Ritchie Havens and David Cassidy.
Hi, I'm David Cassidy, and of course I'm here at the Odyssey Arena in Belfast with Robin. As you can see, I'm doing time for many crimes that I've committed over the years. The first one being, I've never performed in Ireland until tonight. So to all of you, please forgive me. My Irish ancestors, please forgive me.
So whereabouts are you living these days? Are you living in LA?
Living in LA? No, I do not live in LA. My brothers all live in LA, right, and my family live there. But I go there and I work there occasionally, and I probably go there 4 or 5 times a year. I live in South Florida.
Right.
I was born and raised in New York until I was 11, 12 years old, and went to school in New York and in around Manhattan. And I always think of New York as my home. I was always a visitor in LA.
Right. All right. Now, I was reading somewhere as well today, you own some racehorses too.
Oh, I do, yeah. I breed and race. Yeah. I've been doing it for 30 years now.
Right.
Yeah, and I have a small but very competitive and successful stable. And,
right,
and I breed and sell them and buy them and race them. And it has been my passion for a long time, which is, I guess, no one in my family really understood it, but I guess they used to say to me, it must be the Irish blood in him.
Right, yeah.
You know, I came over to see the Irish Derby in 2001, and I saw, I think Rock of Gibraltar was 2003, I think, as I recall. I came over to see his Irish Derby and his double with the Epsom Irish. And I'm a passionate fan and love flat racing. I'm not a hurdles and what we call steeplechase. It's not a very big sport in our country. There is a small circuit which, you know, I'm sure it's as competitive as anything else, but I run and breed and race in New York for the most part, in New York State, and we will be running at Belmont. We're running at Belmont Park. I won a race the other day with one that I bred, and you know, I have probably 8 or 9 in training, and it's just what I love to do, and we'll be going to Saratoga for the summer.
Hi again, Robin, outside the Odyssey again, where there's lots and lots of David Cassidy fans, but I've met some lovely ladies here from Ballyclare that have come all the way to see David tonight. This is Vanda, who's a really big fan of his. Vanda, how long have you been a fan of David Cassidy?
For about 20 years now.
And what was it that first got you into him? Was it his good looks, or his voice, or his TV performances, or what?
His looks and his voice, very
Right.
much so.
Right, okay. Well, obviously you're all excited about seeing him in the flesh tonight, the first time ever in Belfast. I'm sure you're all looking forward to it. But you must have a favourite song, Vanda. What would you love him to perform for you tonight?
How can I be sure? How can I be sure?
How can I be sure? Well, hopefully David will play that one. Okay, Vanda, well, before you get off and get into your seats, I'm going to give you the chance to talk to David tonight. You're going to have a chance now to ask David any question you like. So please think hard before you answer. Look at the camera and ask David Cassidy what you would like to know.
David, what do you really think of us Northern Ireland girls?
Well, having been here for a day, I have to say that I would much prefer to spend a little more time to at least evaluate in a much more productive way than I have been able to during my napping hours today. Sad, isn't it, napping? I did see one of the more beautiful women I have seen anywhere today. How, I don't really know, but I was walking into this particular hotel and she was standing there, and she was quite stunning. And I was so taken aback. I got on the elevator and it was halfway up to the next floor, and I went, I think we should have gone back down. I wanted to see her again. But the ones I've seen, thumbs up. Beautiful Irish girls.
We're here at Denver's Hotel now to meet our final guest on the show. What can I say about him? Well, he's a music legend. His festival performances are legendary. He's played Woodstock, he's played Glastonbury, he's even played for President Bill Clinton as well. It's the one and only Ritchie Havens.
Oh, my pleasure.
How are you, sir?
I'm really doing good.
Well, welcome to Northern Ireland.
Thank you.
Of course, you've been here before, but it took you a while to get here, didn't it?
Yes, it took a long while. You know, they used to call me up all through the 70s and the 80s, you know. I go, Ritchie, we want you here, you know, we're going to have a festival. And then they'd call me back, oh, the money went funny, so, or something, you know, went wrong, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And finally, you know, about, I guess 3 years ago, I think was the first time, and
Yeah.
it was just so fantastic.
I was checking for your website early on as well, and I see you've got a lot of tour dates. You seem to tour
Oh, yeah.
really heavily. Do you enjoy the touring more than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I think that's really more than anything else what I do in terms of, I'm out every weekend, you know, practically all year round for the most part, 4 days sometimes. And that's been the last 28 years in a row.
Yeah.
Before that, it was 6 days a week,
Yeah.
you know, and I go, nope, having too much fun. That 7 years could now wait, you know. And there's other things I might want to do,
Right.
you know, so I'll do the weekends, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much every weekend all year round.
Okay. Now, Richie, I'm noticing all the different jewellery you have on here. Is this stuff you've collected from across the world?
It's stuff that, most of it was given to me by different tribes I worked with in the United States, Native American tribes, and they were gifts, you know, all my rings, you know, all gifts.
Yeah.
And I wear them all
Yeah.
because it definitely is the well wishes that go along with it that keep me going.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's a fact. Keeps the airplanes up in the sky too. You know, so yes, they are really cherished gifts.
Tell us a bit about this guitar that you have here.
Yeah, this is a strange guitar, actually. It's actually a signature guitar
Right, yes.
from Guild. They finally gave me one.
Right.
But I play Guild because, as a strummer, you need a guitar that get equal volume out of every string, and these are the only ones that do that.
Right, yeah.
Gilder's the only ones that give you equal volume. I don't change very much. One string changes the whole
Right,
chord for
yeah.
me. Then you have to hear it, So, and the way I tune is different. So, I kind of worked out a way for me to get to sing all the songs that I'm singing. This is the old guy right here. Got a little cold,
Yeah.
but he's okay. He's gonna be okay.
How many guitars do you actually own?
Oh gosh, I think about 15.
Right.
I used to go through guitars. I used to have like a hole down here and a hole over here.
Right.
And they'd see me on TV and go, "Don't play that on television. Here, take another one."
Yeah.
So I kept ending up with guitars because I went through 1.5 a year.
Right.
So
this one's a special one. You couldn't live without this one.
Yeah, no, it's special for me now. They kind of, when they go, they go.
Yeah.
They can't be worked anymore.
I remember Henry McCulloch telling me a great story when he lost his lovely Gibson guitar.
Oh, yes.
He never got it back, and
Yes.
he's still affected by that
Yes.
today. So yes.
Well, pickers,
Mhm.
you're looking for something even more
Yeah.
correct, because once you find it, it's really what you
Yeah.
like. None of them are really alike, so you have to really search for the ones that feel the right way. And I could understand that. That's why B.B. King calls his Lucille, you see.
Right.
I don't give these any names because I don't want to be sad when they go.
You got a new album coming out shortly?
I'm working on it
Yeah.
now, yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Well, we look forward to that.
All right, thank you.
And Ritchie, good luck for the festival tonight.
Thank you very
And the rest
much.
of your Irish tour. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure, for
Thank
sure.
you.
My
Thank you, sir.
pleasure. Take care.
Some great memories from 20 years ago this year. Right, time to talk dating now. And according to some new research, are we being too picky when it comes to dating? Well, that's what I asked Celebs Go Dating star Tom Reid Wilson earlier on this week. Here's what happened.
So we're taking a look at some new research that asks, are we too picky when it comes to dating? Over a third of us have ended a relationship over a minor annoyance, such as somebody chewing too loudly or laughing at their own jokes. And people's top relationship deal breakers include having bad hygiene, being in contact with an ex, and poor table manners as well. 3 in 10 of us would rather be single than be with somebody they think isn't 100% perfect. To talk about this further, I'm pleased to say that actor, TV personality, and of course you'll know him from Celebs Go Dating, Tom Reid Wilson joins us now. How are you today?
I'm great, Robin. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So talk us through the research then. What have we learned?
Yes, it comes from the brand new Your Car Model Choice Service. And they've done this research kind of as a correlation between how picky we are with cars and how picky we are with partners. And, this really tickles me, actually. The research revealed that 14% of respondents are more picky about their cars than their paramours, which I think is very, very ticklesome. But I think what it reveals, which I find really, really heartening, is that people do have very high standards in both areas, and in terms of relationships, to the extent that some people very happily be single. And I always say, forgive the foolish analogy, but I always say it's a little bit like a cuckoo clock. You know, it's lovely to have a cuckoo that pops out of your clock and sings on the hour, but you can have a beautiful clock that tells the time very efficiently without a cuckoo. So I think the cuckoo clock's the relationship, and I'm just a cuckoo-less clock at the moment. And I think it's a nice place to be if you can find that inner contentment.
So what else have we learned? What about deal breakers then? Bad hygiene coming out on top.
Yes, hygiene, chewing very loudly. There's terribly irksome things which, if you were on a date, you might not notice because it's a very short period of time. But if you were married to the person or in a long-term relationship, it might really grind your gears. However, you know, I always think that these things can be nipped in the bud with communication. And if you can find a time where you're not already like a coiled spring to communicate them, if you're very, very tranquil, very easy, and really quite a happy, sanguine moment to share these things and these thoughts, then you can nip these things in the bud. You don't want to become a sort of a Mount Vesuvius, sort of suppressing your molten lava about them. Because it is important to have these standards, you know, in terms of, because actually what it boils down to very often is empathy. You know, if you do something that you know is annoying and you don't modify it, then you're not truly empathizing with your partner.
So when it comes to relationship deal breakers for you, what's the big turn off then?
Oh, I think probably if somebody insisted on having a television in the bedroom. Because I know that sounds like a curious one, but I really like my wind down time. I'm basically a little old lady, Robin, and I like my wind down time in the evening. And so if I can't sort of prop myself up with a cryptic crossword or a good book before I go to bed, after I've performed all my ablutions, then I think I might find it a little bit irksome. But, you know, it's a funny thing because it's quite nice when somebody like Europcar does some of the hard work for you, because they're kind of a little bit like a car matchmaking agency. And so they say, well, here we are, here's this vast panoply of choices, and whether you want an eco vehicle or a very spacious SUV, we run the gamut, so you don't have to spend your whole time hunting. Yeah. And I suppose that's a little bit what we do at Celebs Go Dating too, you know, that sort of taking all that hard work of searching away, because it is hard to find the perfect person, and people do increasingly have very high standards.
And when it comes to choosing a car, what's your ideal car?
Well, I'm a little bit of a greenie, so I do always elect to have an electric vehicle. What about you, Robin?
Well, I'm one of these people who don't drive. I've never learned how to drive. I just like being, chauffeured around everywhere.
You get much choice in who you're chauffeured by and what you're chauffeured in.
At the minute, we have a Hyundai Tucson, so Mrs. E drives me about in that.
And not too many annoyances with your spouse either way.
Yeah, we've been married nearly 13 years now.
It's a real love story.
And what about you? Are you dating at the moment?
No, I'm not. I suppose in the research, I fall into one block in Europcar's research where it discovered that 28% of people would sooner be single than in a relationship that wasn't doing everything that they wanted it to do for them. And I'm sort of in that spot because I've got these delicious godchildren, delicious nephews, and happily, mercifully, I'm very busy. And I seem to be quite sort of stimulated and quite happy. So I would love it. I'd love it if the cuckoo came along. But I am hugely happy and contented, fortunately.
And when it comes to dating, do you go on those dating sites?
I find the best way, because I'm a bit of a curiosity, is to try and have 100 conversations a day, and then by law of averages, 2 are bound to be mildly flirtatious. And that's quite a good springboard. I don't do so very well on the apps because either people know me already or they don't, and somehow the picture doesn't go with what they are expecting to find. And, I think they sort of get a bit of a Mary Poppins in a jock's body and they don't really know how to compute it. So it's better that people meet me in life. And then it takes all my nerves away about the first date as well, because we've done a bit of it already. We've done it IRL, as the kids say.
Exactly. Now, what about celebs go dating? Who's been your favourite guests on the show?
Oh, Robin, that's a fiendish question.
And you have had some great guests, and it's great to see them in a kind of a different environment.
Yes, well, I don't want to sound awfully Pollyanna-ish, but I do love them all. I've grown so fond of all of them. And of course, I don't have the difficulty of knowing what they've been up to, good, bad, and indifferent. I don't know any mischief that they've made. I'm a bit of an ostrich, really. So when they come in, it's just greeting a beloved chum. It's not what have you been up to. I think the agents have a much harder job.
Definitely.
Because they always know exactly what they've been up to, even if they'd sooner not know.
Now, another thing we love you for is your Instagram page, and of course, the word of the day.
Oh, Robin, you're so dear. I love it. It's a total labour of love for me. I just adore it.
And what's your favourite word this week?
I did an Australian one earlier in the week, tucker. And actually, it's where bush tucker comes from. That tucker just means food. And so bush tucker is food that you find in the outback or in the bush. And then equally in Australia, you can have posh tucker. You can have fine dining tucker, and people will go out for fine dining tucker. So I love the versatility of it, and I love how vivid and colourful Australian words and idioms are. I borrow a lot,
Now, have you discovered any Irish words? Because I noticed that a few Irish slang words have actually made it into the dictionary this week.
Oh, yes. Well, I think my favourite one is how she cutting, to kind of compare how someone's doing in life to a plough.
Yes.
And I gather, I said, I love how she cotton. And somebody said, well, there's a wonderful response to that. She's cutting diesel. Oh, she's chugging diesel. Meaning, she's going at an absolute clip.
Yes.
I suppose you could do it with a car, couldn't you? Say, how's she rolling? Oh, she's drained her petrol tank. Or in my case, she's drained her charge. She's been going at a clip.
And have you spent much time in Ireland?
In my days in the theatre, I've been twice for work, and I've done as many touristy things as I could possibly do. And once I was playing the titular character in The Cat in the Hat, and I played it in Dublin and Cork, and I had an absolute ball, and people could not have been more hospitable. And then I did Celebrity Mastermind in Northern Ireland at the BBC studios there. Yes. And I had a wonderful time. And I shouldn't really say this because it sounds a bit boastful, but I won.
You did? And what was your subject?
It was the entire history of My Fair Lady, right back to when George Bernard Shaw was being first asked for the rights in 1912 to Pygmalion. Yes, it was fascinating history. It's much longer than you think it would be, because masses of people tried to write it before Lerner and Loewe. Rodgers and Hammerstein had a go, and I think Frank Lesser had a go, and Bernstein had a go. All the heavyweights on Broadway tried, and they thought it couldn't be done because there was no love story.
Well, there you go. Right, just before you go, any exciting projects coming up that we should know about?
Yes, I have some more of the Taste Test restaurant on Channel 5, which is a tremendous supermarket hack, where people eat as though they're in a restaurant without packaging, not knowing where things have come from, and then find out afterwards. And then also at Channel 5, I'm following in the footsteps of the grand tourists who were the kind of did this amazing 18th century gap year all over Europe. All the places they visited, all the naughtiness they got up to.
Sounds amazing. We look forward to that. As always, Tom, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Robin, it's my great pleasure. Thank you.
Always good to have a Tom Reid-Wilson on the show. So that's all we have time for this week. To play us out, we're going to feature some live music that was recorded right here in the NVTV studios a couple of weeks back. And Grainne Duffy is back in Belfast. She plays the Black Box on the 12th of April. So here she is performing live. Here's Grainne Duffy, and we'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.
Won't you open up your arms to me? Then at last you will see all the love that I have right here for you. Every time that I say these words, they're true. Won't you show me something I can see? I've had a little space and I've had a little time. See the love that you have right here for me. And every time that you say these words, they're true. When I'm sick of lies and I'm sick of tears, here we go again after all these years, saying I'll be there for you. Won't you show me something I can see? 'Cause I don't know if I'm strong enough to be. And all the love that you have right here for me. And every time that you say these words, they're true. When I'm sick of lies and I'm sick of tears, here we go again after all these years, saying I'll be there for you, saying I'll be there for you, saying I'll be